From an early age, like, all I wanted to do was be a footballer. Probably about 6 months before I was diagnosed, I did have some sort of symptoms, but never did I think that it was like symptoms for leukemia. I feel like sports has been sort of embedded in me, do you know what I mean, from day one. From 13 I was at Coventry, and then I progressed on to Aston Villa and like, spent like a few professional years there. I could see first team players playing in the Premier League and it just made me want it more. I was on my way there. My sole focus was on football and I felt like, you know, I was really close to achieving what I wanted. I had a game on the Saturday. I was warming up and I just felt like terrible, so I said to the manager, like, I don't feel like playing. The following day I woke up with like my lymph nodes had swollen on my left side of my neck. Obviously with it being a Sunday, I couldn't go to the doctors, so I went the following day. They took my bloods and then I got a call from an unknown number at like 10 o'clock at night. She didn't really give too much away, she just basically said like, I need you to pack an overnight bag, get in as soon as you can. I stayed overnight in the hospital, like my girlfriend and mum went home, and basically the next morning, yeah, they basically said like, yeah, we can confirm that it's leukemia. And that's like when like things just changed from that moment. When you're hearing all that at the age, I was only 22, and it was like, it just felt like a really bad dream that I was going to wake up from, and you know, that was the reality of it. I went on to a teenage ward in Leicester Royal and I started my treatment like 2 days later. It was quite difficult to sort of process what was going on. I just had to take each day as it came, but they did manage to get me into remission. When I was diagnosed, they basically said like, oh, you can't have kids naturally from the moment you start chemotherapies. Funny enough, like 4 weeks after I was diagnosed, Lauren found out that she was 8 weeks pregnant. Obviously, like, there was so many emotions, I just didn't know what to think. I was scared, I was excited, but at the end of the day, it was a blessing, do you know what I mean? Like, someone had blessed us, and from that moment, it gave me something to like really dig deep for and fight for, do you know what I mean? Like, I had a little baby come in, and I wanted to make sure that I was going to be here for it. I ended up spending about 6 months in hospital, but then I could have breaks. I could come out for maybe a few days, like when I was well enough to. I remember going out to my mum's house, and I came back to the hospital after a few hours. And then that night, like, I woke up with like a 40-degree temp, and it didn't budge for about 5 or 6 days. So I ended up having to go on to the intensive care unit. And I was on there for 7 days, and like, the doctor who had been looking after me basically said like, if you weren't fit and healthy like you were, then you wouldn't have came out of it. I just had to find like an inner strength, do you know what I mean, to sort of pull me through any bad days. Because there was a lot of them. Mentally, like, it tested me, but ultimately after coming out, like, I just feel like such a stronger person. I did switch up my diet in terms of like, I was eating less meat, less dairy products, and from that moment I've just been a lot more cautious as to what I'm putting in my body, because I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't take drugs. This whole experience has just made me sort of think to myself like, maybe that's what caused this. Obviously my protein intake became a lot less, and so I replaced that with like protein shakes, especially with getting back into the gym and trying to get back into sport and football. I feel like now I'm at a stage where I'm not close to, you know, like the level that I was at fitness-wise, but I certainly feel like I can get there. When I was going through all of this treatment, my urge to get back into football, it got bigger. It was like I wanted to prove to myself that I could come out from this and get back to sort of where I was. There was like a little pedal bike in the hospital like room. I'd be on that, like, just trying to keep my heart rate up, and like I'd be doing press-ups even when I had like a PICC line in my arm, and just little things to sort of keep me going, do you know what I mean? And you need to have the urge and the, you know, the mental strength to get to that place. Pushing the boundaries, really. It's a challenge to me. Like, I want to prove to myself and to others that, you know, you can go through something bad, but still, like, if you've got the mentality and the strength, like, you can get back to wherever you want to get to. I think that feeling of putting on a shirt and coming on the pitch, like, after what I've been through, I think it will just be a moment that I've sort of dreamt about, that I can envision quite a lot. If I can get to that moment, I think I'll be so happy. Having my family there, seeing me come on, and I'm pretty sure that I'll get to it at some point. It's just a case of when, really, do you know what I mean? Taking each day as it comes, really, and not planning too much ahead, just enjoying the moments that we're in.